Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Film Club podcast, where every week me and Miss Boo bring a movie. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, but they're always fun here at the Film Club. Miss Boo, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Today's my pick, so...
It is your pick.
It's a good day.
Ah. And your pick is much more kid-friendly than mine.
Oh, yeah.
Severely.
Like, landslide, you know.
Super G-rated film.
Yes. I mean, it actually is G-rated.
Oh, my.
But, yes, today's my pick, and we are continuing with our animation month.
Yeah.
So, for today, we're going to be talking...
celebration of anime.
Sean.
Yeah.
So...
We keep trying to interrupt you.
I know.
Yeah.
You do that all the time. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Right.
So, for today, we're going to be talking about Kiki's Delivery Service.
Yes, this is going to be our first Studio Ghibli film, our first Miyazaki film.
Yes.
And this is going to be an interesting one.
Because we watched the same version.
We did actually watch the same version this time.
Not like last week.
Where we had the dub sub, combat going on. Well, I guess it wasn't really a combat. It was just I was bad at finding which movie to watch. Well, I do want to find out something real quick. Alright, perfect. I needed to find out if this was his first movie or it wasn't, but the first is Lupon the Third, which, awesome, by the way. But
haven't seen it, but I did enjoy the movie, so I'd be interested in looking at more of his work.
Honestly, you probably be in a good camp, because Studio Ghibli, the Miyazaki films, these are the movies that Disney releases in America.
And I was very surprised that this is considered a Disney movie.
Yeah. I think almost all of them are. Almost all the Miyazaki films are considered like Disney film. Because Disney owns the American distribution rights, and Disney does all the dubbing and stuff like that for the United States.
Yeah, because when I was looking up the information about this movie, I saw that this is actually the second dubbed version of this movie. And I kind of thought it was pretty cool that the original first dubbing was made so that they could stream it on flights to Japan.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's pretty cool. You get to go to Japan and you get to see a really good movie on your way over.
And speaking of good movies, so this movie is, the best way I can describe it is, it's so cute. This is a very cute movie.
It's a very cute movie.
This is very much a kid's movie, right?
It is, and I really wasn't sure what to expect. Mm-hmm. I was drawn in with the little black cat, because
of course.
I love black cats.
And also, he is the funniest character in the movie.
Oh, he's the best character in the movie.
Absolutely, right?
Hands down. Jiji is
I could just watch
man.
a movie with Jiji.
Oh, yeah. I wish they would make, more animated shorts just, about Jiji. Kind of like Pixar makes shorts about some of their movies. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I was inspired to watch it because of Jiji, and also because of my younger cousins, Seraphine and Felix, because they're huge Studio Ghibli fans. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of like, all right, let's give it a go and see how it is. And it was actually a really good movie.
Yeah. Boo's actually, we're 2 for 2 so far. Boo has not hit a movie she has not liked on our anime month.
I know, I'm surprised.
You might be a weeb. Who knows?
I don't think I've fallen that far down the rabbit hole. But
give it time.
I know plenty of weebs, but I don't think I'm there yet.
All right. Just give it time. But on that note, so Kiki's Delivery Service. I think it's your turn to give the plot rundown for this film, because I would find it difficult to summarize the plot of this movie.
Yeah, you might take it a completely different way than what it actually is.
I start talking about the downfall of European society in the post-World War II universe. There's a whole weird, thematic thing that I'm probably going to go down a rabbit hole in a minute, but I'll let you finish.
Remember, this is a G-rated movie, so we're going to try to keep it PG-13 in this episode.
I won't cuss at all.
Thank you. So, elevator pitch for this movie is, the movie is about Kiki, who is a 13-year-old witch, mm-hmm. and I guess this witch lore in the movie, when witches turn 13, they have to leave their homes for a year to train and kind of take on a trade. And Kiki decides, it's a beautiful night, I'm going to take off tonight and I'm going to go find adventure wherever I can. So Kiki takes off with their cat, Jiji, which Jiji's the man. Mm. Cutest cat ever. Apart from Binks.
Yeah, you're just saying Gigi's cute because he looks like Binks.
He really does look like Binks.
Yeah.
So Kiki takes off, and she finds this town, this pretty beach town.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is it with anime? The towns, the lands, and the food all look amazing.
Because it's anime and they can make it look amazing.
Because, I mean,
that's the beauty about anime.
Because I've seen clips about anime food, and I'm just like, my God, I want that bowl of ramen, or I want this feast so bad, or I just want to move here.
That's the thing about anime. You know, that really goes into the idea of I'm gonna put my pretentious cap on. So you know the Artur Theory?
Yes, I remember that.
Yes, that conversation. So in anime, like the Artur Theory is like different because in regular like film production, you know, where it's live action, there's a army of people that are doing stuff. You have a costume designer, you have a production designer, you have the cinematographer, camera, you have all these different facets of people coming together to try and make a film.
Yeah.
So an auteur is kind of a shoddy theory, but it does work. It's just hard to work in practice because you can't really be one person and control every single solitary aspect of your film. In anime, you actually can, because most directors who do anime, it's weird because in Japan it's more like a trade job.
Yeah.
Where you do everything and then you become a director.
Yeah.
And with anime, you can make anything looks really awesome, including food. Landscapes, I've discovered, are like basic. You got to be able to make a beautiful landscape.
And I really wanted to move to this seaside town.
Yeah. Well, I have no idea where it's supposed to be. I know it's supposed to be someplace in Europe, because they mentioned that, or well, I guess it's not mentioned in the movie, but from like context clues and like stuff I researched, the movie's supposed to take place in an alternate 1950 where World War I and II never happened in Europe. Yeah, it's a really weird setting, but yeah.
Yeah, because when Kiki first takes off, she meets another witch that's taking off, or she's actually coming home. And, you know, we pan down and we see where her home is, and you see the Moulin Rouge. So we're over Paris at this point, so I'm thinking maybe Kiki lands like in Germany
or Austria, something like that.
Yeah, because I was thinking the bakery that she ends up in, they have, you know, a huge pretzel in the window.
Everything looks very German.
It looks very German, and you know, I've never been to Germany, and I haven't really seen too much on Germany, so it's like I don't know what their coastal towns look like. But I was like, damn.
And she looks pretty.
Looks pretty. There's a bakery. I get all the bread I want.
You swore before I did.
It's bread. It's bread and landscapes. I'm sorry. Weaknesses.
I understand.
But to continue the elevator pitch, Kiki ends up working in this bakery, and this nice woman that runs the bakery with her husband, you know, takes her in and says, you know, hey, well, if you help me, you've got a room to stay here. We'll pay you. And Kiki's delivery service begins, where she starts helping people in the town delivering things. And at first, when she lands, people are not too crazy about Kiki because she kind of lands in the middle of traffic and there's cars going everywhere.
Yeah, it's funny because we see Kiki and she is very much a country girl.
Yeah.
The movie's weird because we have this juxtaposition of Kiki and her home life before she leaves, and it's very much like, oh, she lives in like a small rural country town where you know every one of your neighbors. And
and it's also very brief too that we see her home life.
Yeah. And then, you know, she goes to this big city, and it's kind of interesting because I think that's a theme of the movie of, you know, kids or people, you know, they go from this world of, you know, very small, very rural, whatever, to this big city. It's the whole thing of, you know, if you want to get big anywhere, you can't do it in the middle of Missouri. You got to go to, you know, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's interesting in this movie because where in a lot of those things you go there to become famous, Kiki does this and she grows up. She becomes more like an adult because we see her at the beginning and she's very like childlike, very childish, and then
her mom even says she doesn't really know how to fly a broom.
Yeah. And by the end of the movie, she's mastered, her ability to fly a broom. She's gotten, her groove back with the witch's powers, and
she's developed a trade for herself.
Exactly. And she's even, met somebody who she likes, loves, I don't know. He's definitely down. He is definitely into her.
He kind of reminded me of somebody, too.
Yeah, well, Kiki reminded me of somebody else.
I thought so,
yeah. I was like, Kiki looks exactly like the thing Boo wishes she could have been as a little girl. No meme, right? You want to fly around
with my little black cat following me?
Little black cat flying around a broom, living in a bakery with fresh, pancakes every day.
And cocoa.
Which
apparently was coffee in the original movie.
But Disney was like, yo, kids don't drink coffee. How little they knew back in 1989. How little they knew.
Have you seen how many kids are in Starbucks? It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. And I'm just saying, there's a lot of things in this. Kiki lives in Europe. Who's all want to go to Europe? There's a lot of things here. I think you kind of just, literally picked a movie about, your fantasies. Just saying.
I didn't know what I was picking, Tombo.
Oh, wow. What a savage. I don't even have glasses.
Yet.
Wow. Wishing me to go blind. What a savage.
You already can't see things.
Lies and slander. But, as time goes on, what comes next in the movie, other than, Kiki, she starts a delivery service, helps people around the town.
She starts, making connections with different people in the town. She meets Ursula, who lives, out in the woods, and they develop a friendship, and suddenly, Kiki's interested in Tombo. She finally gives him the time of day, and then...
It took a while.
And then she starts to notice that her powers aren't really working the way that they are. She can't talk to Jiji anymore. Her flying really isn't working. So she kind of takes some time to herself, and there's an incident with Tombo where she ends up saving his life, and her powers just come flooding back.
That's the big climax of the movie.
It is. And it's interesting to see her story arc, even though it hasn't been more than a year. Mm-hmm. She grows up so much in this short span of time.
Well, I got a question for you. Sure. So she loses her powers in, we'll say right before the third act, right?
Yeah.
So she loses her powers. What do you think caused that?
It's gotta be her attraction to Tombo, because she was so focused on, I'm 13, I've got to learn this, I've got to do this. Now we have kind of a love interest coming into the mix, and that's distracting from...
Well, it's distracting from her doing, her gig, right?
Yeah.
But she starts to lose her powers. Is it a thing where she's, going away from, being a witch, and she's I'm more interested in this mortal realm kind of thing?
Yeah, because
it's never explained in the movie. I guess
not explained, but she is very comfortable. You could tell she is very much enjoying where she is, and the people that she's meeting, she's building relationships, and it's becoming home very fast. I mean, even the woman in the bakery that she works for, Osona, at one point when they talk on the phone, she's like, come home soon. So it's even Osona and her husband,
they've kind of adopted her into the family.
And at some point in the movie, I was like, man, she hasn't written or called her parents. So just deuces, I'm out.
Yeah, I noticed that in the movie, and I'm like, Kiki's kind of mean, but whatever. That is funny. But yeah, so about the themes of the movie, because last week when we talked about Perfect Blue, there's a lot of theme in that movie.
Yeah.
It's all over that movie.
Yeah.
And granted, we had a shorter episode for that, but that's, to be expected because I'm lazy. But yeah, for, Kiki's Delivery Service, there's some themes going on in this movie. Growing up, having to be on your own, trying to just, find your own path to, adulting, I guess I'll say.
And on your own, too, because it's not like she's finding her path at home. It's just she is out in the world trying to figure this out on her own at 13. And we encounter other children in the movie, and they're just man, she's already working? She's making money? And it's just yeah, she doesn't really have, a teenage kind of years. She's already going to work.
Yeah, so I'm wondering where the themes of the film kind of rest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have some pretty obvious ones. Kiki's whole thing of going on like a year-long, exploration of her powers in the city, that's a pretty basic way to pull it out. She is sending herself out to the world so she can find her own path in life.
Yeah.
Right? That is the whole, arc of growing up. The fact that she goes, finds a job, basically starts her own business. She has this thing where she starts to lose her powers, but then she kind of finds the power within to get her powers back, and Jiji and all this other stuff. And that's like her representing her growing up. She knows what to value in her life and is rewarded with her powers back. But I kind of want to know what your thoughts are about like certain theme or thematic stuff in the movie. If you get to put on, the pretentious cap right now for the movie about your life.
Do I have to wear it?
Yeah, you gotta wear it.
All right, hit me with questions.
No, I wanted to hear you kind of philosophize about the movie. I
agree with what you said. It is very much a coming of age story in a very short amount of time, and it is about those values of I'm all about work to, well, no, I'm really all about making relationships. Not just with, romantically, just, kind of putting down roots.
Do you think that's why they made her 13 in the movie? Because that's when you reach a certain level of, like, physical maturity and you start to have that hormone rush?
Yeah.
Like, do you think that's, like, a big thing? And also, I guess in, like, many cultures, 13 is considered, not adulthood, but, like, you're a man now, son. You're 13.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a thing. It's also, it almost seemed like a test, too. Mm-hmm. It seemed like this might be a test, within the witch line. Okay, you're 13.
It's like a rite of passage.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And that's what it kind of felt like, this struggle of, I want to do great with a business, but at the same time, I also kind of want to put roots down. And I'm wondering, because there's no sequel to this, I'm wondering, does she stay? Does she stay or does she go home?
You just want to know if her and Tombo have babies. That's all you want to know.
No, I'm more concerned about Jiji.
You just want... Well, we know Jiji had babies.
Exactly.
Jiji had a whole litter.
And I mean, that little black baby cat was so cute. I wanted him.
You have him. It's called Binks.
Her, yes.
Yes, exactly. If anybody is wondering, Miss Boo has an obsession with her little black cat at home. Obsessed about that cat.
I'm not obsessed. I just love my cat.
Obsessed.
No.
Well, Kiki's Delivery Service. Well, Boo, do you got any other little things you want to talk about? Because we talked about the plot. I mean, we could talk about some of the more characters a little bit in depth. Because Kiki is I don't know if Kiki's is Kiki an interesting character, or is she more just a character that allows us to kind of explore what's going on, right? Explore this world a little
interesting, but we can all kind of like step into her shoes and kind of explore and discover new things. And it's cool to see that, she's not like a shut-off person. She makes friends everywhere that she goes. She cares about people. I love seeing her interact with the madam and the older woman that helps her in the house. Mm-hmm. It's like, I love that dynamic. I love that the woman that helps the madam is so, beguiled by witches that she starts jumping around with Kiki's broom in the house. She tries to see
if the broom works.
And it's just like, I thought that was so cute, and it was sweet, when the madam makes her a birthday cake, or not a birthday cake, like a thank you cake.
Yeah.
And it was sweet to see that dynamic. But I just kept thinking, does she stay? Because, I mean, I know with, like, her parents, they're part of this, this rural town. So it's like, I have a feeling that this is what the witches do, where they find these places and they end up making it a home. Because even the guy in the clock tower in the beginning, when she arrives in this town, she asks if there's any witches here, and he's like, oh, well, not for a very long time. So it's a common thing in this world where witches are, in fact, real.
They just kind of show up places.
They show up like Mary Poppins. They just appear in the air.
Is this anime Mary Poppins?
Kind of. Really breaking the fourth wall there.
Totally.
I mean, it is a Disney movie.
And Boo loves Disney movies.
I do. I really do.
Well, it is interesting. It is interesting. Because this is this is considered a Disney film, right?
Yeah.
And this kind of just fits perfectly into that Disney archetype of film, right?
Yeah.
Kid main character. We're in this very, like, fantastical, kind of high concept world. There's, cute animals. There's nothing risque about the film.
No.
In any sense.
No.
But it still has this very engaging and interesting and lighthearted story. Now, would you consider this out the gate just, this is a Disney film? Or is this more like, this is a Japanese film that Disney released?
It's both. Because, do
you feel like it's culturally specific to, like, Japan enough to where it's like, it's not like, I guess that I should probably clarify. That's what that's what I mean. So, when I say it's like, is this a Disney film, does it feel like a film like, oh, Walt Disney Productions of 1989, or is this more Japanese in nature?
Because usually Disney films, there's a musical number. And there's no singing in this movie. We do have music, but it's not like a Disney movie. But it's still kind of that wholesome movie where you do face, a problem, and, in the end, the hero wins. Because we do have a pretty good climax in this movie with the blimp.
Yeah.
And, Kiki's powers, kick back in, and she's able to save Tombo from, almost imminent death.
Yes.
But, yeah, it's a little of both. It could be a Disney movie, but it's really not.
It's the thing, like, does this feel like an import from another culture's, like, film?
Yes.
Okay. Because, like, I guess parallel to this, I am in the Double Feature podcast, we're doing Foreign Film Month. And we're doing Japanese films. I believe we're doing Japanese films this
week?
Coming week. I can't remember. I'm really bad at remembering movies I have to watch, if you don't know. Now,
I know.
Yeah.
I run the schedule.
Yes. So, and that was like a big thematic question we were talking about was, does this feel like a film that is unique to a certain culture that American audiences wouldn't, like, grasp onto? And that's kind of what I'm talking about with this. Does this feel like a film that feels very uniquely Japanese in terms of its film language and film culture, that as an American audience you feel like you're losing something? Or do you feel like it's pretty much like you got it? Because Perfect Blue last week felt very Japanese. Felt like this is very much of Japanese culture, very specific for the time.
Well, that, and I also watched the Japanese version of it.
You did. You watched sub.
Yeah. So this was very different, to understand the dialogue, and it felt Disney, but at the same time it did feel like an import, but a good import. And I think it's something that, I'm new to the anime, genre, community.
New to the lifestyle.
Yeah, because
we'll get you your weird, like, anime hoodie at Hot Topic soon. Oh,
jeez.
We're going back to, like, 2004. We're gonna get, like, Trigun.
Those were primo years.
I won't make you watch Inuyasha, though. I won't put you on that downward spiral.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. You probably would really enjoy it, but I ain't gonna make you watch, like, 500 episodes. I won't do that to you.
I thank you.
Yeah.
But, I know, like, our local AMC theaters, they've done, kind of like film festivals where they show
all the Ghibli movies.
Yeah, and, we've gone to the movies and I've seen those posters and you get excited. You're like, oh man, they're going to show all of these. And I've kind of been like, okay, yeah, whatever. So I think, to an extent, these movies have kind of been slept on here, because we're so used to Disney.
I think you slept on them. The rest of America has gotten behind Studio Ghibli.
Well, I don't know. I'm new to this. So, if you show it to, you show that poster to a kid who's from here that's, used to Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar.
Or, the Cartoon Network, like, the only anime they see is, like, Cartoon Network anime, which is, like, Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
So I think, in that sense, it could be slept on because we're so used to the huge companies that we have here. And we don't really see these movies. And, now that we have I have better access because I have HBO Max, so they have like the whole collection from Studio Ghibli, so it's like now I can, inform myself and enjoy these movies because I really enjoyed it, and I hope that AMC continues to do like these film festivals of these movies because I'd love to see that on the big screen. It's visually stunning. It's a good story.
That's the beauty of Miyazaki.
It kept me engaged the entire time. So, yeah, I'm sorry that I slept on some of these movies because it was just chef's kiss. Yeah. Mwah.
Well, on that note of the chef's kiss, this movie, I can give the chef kiss of approval. Mwah. This is a very cute, very nice, very like, I don't know, it's one of those movies that you're just like, it's like a blanket. It's all warm and cozy.
Yeah, and I wasn't really sure what to expect going into this, but it's total feels. It's good feels. There's some, sad parts in the movie.
But it's the right amount of sad. We're just like, oh no, and then like good stuff happens. Like, yay! It's very much it's a kid's movie.
Yeah.
It's a kid movie that works even if you're not a kid.
Yeah, because I mean, when it ends, when you think it ends, and you get like the credits,
and they have the whole like sequel sequence in the credits.
Yeah, and you see that she finally writes back to her family, and her father's so excited, and I was like, okay, you kind of get that closure that.
And her and Tombo go flying together.
That was sweet that he finally got his little airplane bike going. I totally thought that's something that Dean would try to do.
I will not confirm nor deny I've tried to make a plane out of a bicycle before and may or may not have hurt my legs and back doing so.
I knew it.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
But really, really great movie.
Yes, it is. And next week, we're going to be returning to Studio Ghibli, and I know you're going to be very excited because this is the one that I would say is the best Studio Ghibli movie. Come at me, internet.
You know, we might have to make a little poll on Instagram to see and get people to vote which is the best.
I mean, there's a good number because I mean, there's an argument, right?
Yeah.
Because we have Kiki's Delivery Service, which probably is not like one of the best ones, but it's definitely probably one that is very fondly thought of, fondly remembered. But you also have Princess Mononoke, you have Spirited Away, which, by the way, next week's episode is Spirited Away. My personal favorite. Very excited. It won't be My Neighbor Totoro because Spirited Away is better. Come at me, internet. It's going to be great. I think that's the one that won the Oscar. I think so. I can't remember.
Yeah, because I know some of these movies have won some pretty prestigious awards.
Yeah.
That's why I wasn't sure if this was one of them or if it was Spirited Away that was the one that's taken like the most awards.
Spirited Away is the one that I believe won like best animated film, and it's the one that's gotten a lot of acclaim. I saw it a long time ago, and it's been a minute since I've rewatched it, but it's weird because those movies where you saw them like when you were young and you haven't seen them in like 10 years, but you could remember like 90% of the movie from memory because the visuals are so stunning, or like there's so much weird stuff going on, it just kind of sticks with you. Yeah, Spirited Away is like that. I haven't seen the movie in like 10 years, but I can probably recite 90% of the movie from memory. Wow. Well, granted, it's a movie, so I do that anyway.
Yes, we do frequently speak in quotes. In movie quotes, so I love you too. Yeah. So be prepared next week. Spirited Away. I'm excited to see it.
Boo. But where can people listen to us to find more?
Well,
so they can too be spirited away. Sorry, I had to get the pun. I swear. I'm sorry.
He's not that sorry.
Nah, not even a little bit.
Okay, so if you want to listen to us on a different platform than you already are, we're on Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and soon we will be on YouTube.
Very, very soon. Hopefully we'll have the first episode up by the time this comes out. But we will be on the YouTube channel In the Frame with our sister podcast, the Double Feature Podcast, as well as Too Obscure for TV.
And, you never know. We might actually do some vlog posts on that YouTube page.
You would love to do vlog posts on that YouTube page, but...
Hey, again, we're in LA. We're near film sets and locations. We might want to, throw that into the mix.
Yeah, you can discuss that with my agent. But
you can afford an agent.
Exactly.
But if you want to find us on social media, you can also find us on Instagram and Facebook at the Film Club Podcast.
And I think that brings us to an end here for Kiki's Delivery Service.
That's right. So we'll see you next week at the Film Club.
Peace.